piano lesson number 14. So in this lesson today, we're going to be focusing on how to find the key of a piece. So if someone gives you a certain piece, you will be able to look at it, go, my theoretical analysis confirms that this piece is written in the key of blah, like A major or A flat major or D minor or whatever. So that's what we're going to look at today. And yeah, it probably is not going to be too long of a video because it's a pretty simple process. So let's get started. Alright, so one might ask themselves, well, how do I go about trying to find out the key signature or the key of a piece? Now, it's actually a very simple process if you know a few things. One is you need to be able to read notes and have like a kind of a basic general understanding of music theory because you have to be able to read the thing. And then two, if you understand and you know the circle of fifths, which I showed in my last video, then you can use that to narrow it down to just about 2 keys. And then from there, you just do a very simple thing and just look, and then you're like, oh, okay. So I have an example written out here. Now keep in mind that I don't know, it's very hard to kind of write long pieces on this thing because if I wrote a long detailed piece, one, it would take me a while, and two, it would be so small that you guys wouldn't be able to read it. So what I've done is just drawn something extremely simple and basic, but in a really big format so you guys can read it and understand the point quickly. And then from there, obviously you're going to be applying this to more complicated pieces. But the same rules will apply. Okay? Alright, so now the rule for figuring out what the key of the piece is in, there's 2 basic rules. One is look at your key signature. Okay? And also look at your last note. Now, probably the easiest way to look at this is to do, you can look at it in either way. Like you can start with the key signature and look at the end note, or you can look at the end note and then look at the key signature later. Either way, they're both going to kind of confirm the other one, so it doesn't really matter which order you do it in, but some prefer to look at the beginning, and look at the key signature, and others like to look at the end. Myself, I like to look at the key signature first so that I can get my frame of mind about which 2 keys it could possibly be, and then from there then I decide which key it's probably written on. Okay, so here's how we do it. Now, if you remember from the circle of fifths, and if you don't have that with you, this makes it a little bit harder, but there is ways to remember what keys this could possibly be. Okay, so now in a flat key signature, 2 flats, what would that normally be on the key signature, or the circle of fifths? That we would have had battle ends. So there's F major and then there's B flat major. So B flat major is a possibility. Now do you know what the relative minor of B flat major is? Well, that's why I've drawn this baby out here. So if you have one of these and you don't have a circle of fifths drawn out, you can just go, okay, well I know I was on B flat major. So you go 1, 2, 3. Now you're on G major. Or sorry, not G major, G minor. Yeah, because if it's a relative minor, it would be a minor key. So there's G minor and B flat major. Okay, so those are 2 possible keys that this piece could be written in. Okay, now further down the road, you have things where you do modulations and you go into different keys and then you come back and there's like one main key and there's other things where it's like atonal where it has no key, and then you get into more advanced kind of like harmonic / musical analysis, and when you're doing that, that's going to require a lot more, for the advanced pieces it's going to be a bit harder, but with this tactic you can kind of figure out most of them. About, I'd say, a really hefty chunk of what most pieces are just by learning this. So key signature first, if you want to do it that way. So now with the key signature I've whittled it down to 2 keys. So now I'm expecting to either see a G or a B flat as the last note in the piece. And I'll explain why we're going to look for that in a minute. But okay, so what do I see here? Well, I see a B flat in the bass and I see a B flat in the treble. Now what if there was like say an F or D in the treble clef? Would that make me change my mind? Nope, not at all, because the bass note is the harmonic structure for the piece. It's kind of like when you're building a building and you've got support beams. Well, the bass provides harmonic support. So usually whatever's happening is going to be shown very clearly in the bass line, and the treble clef, you could end on a D or an F, and that would still be a non-chord tone of B flat major chord, which we're going to learn right after these things. We're going to go into major minor chords and just a little bit of other stuff, and dominant chords, I think. And anyway, I won't really stop you there, but basically it's part of the same chord. Now, even if it ended on, it would kind of be weird to end on a note like G or D. If it was ending on G, then I might kind of scratch my head and I'd be like, well, in G minor, B flat is actually part of the G minor triad. So what would I do there? Well, usually if that's the case, then you will see something like an accidental written out. But I'm going to show that in an example right after this. But basically, if you see a B flat, and it was supposed to either be in like B flat major or G, it's probably going to be in B flat major. Now, say you're doing a chord chart, or you're doing like, you're playing sheets that are like MIDI files or whatever, and they don't have a key signature written in. What do you do then? Well, then what you need to do is you actually have to look at what basically you want to look at the last note again, and that's going to tell you, okay, well, say it ended on A. Okay, now all you know is that it's probably either an A major or A minor. And then basically you have to go back and look through the sharps or the flats and the accidentals and see if it matches any of the key signatures, because it won't show you the key signature right off the bat if you're doing a chord chart. Now, say you're playing a piece and it has like block chords, right? And then it's like A major chord, and then it says, you know, E major chord and blah blah blah, and then it ends on an A major chord. Then it just means that that's like almost 100% guaranteed that your piece is written in A major. Okay? I think almost anyone would know that. So pieces tend to end on the basically the key that they're written in. Think of the key that it's written in as we call the first note basically the tonic. So if you think of it like this, think of a whole world, or like an area that's all like dense forest, and like it's kind of uncomfortable to just hang out there because there's no house, no roof, no shelter, no food, blah 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 blah. So, but on this one patch of area there's a house, and it's got electricity and a bunk bed, and it's got a refrigerator and a dining table and a bathroom, and you're like, ooh, this is comfy, I can rest here, right? So we would call that the note of rest, or the tonic chord. It's a place where our ear or we feel comfortable resting on or finishing on. So this will actually be kind of a good intro to later lessons that I'm going to be doing, just in a couple things, but when I cover scale degrees. Anyway, so think of the tonic as the chord that everyone wants to rest on, okay? So if you're doing a piece and you finish the piece, well, you want it to sound finished, right? So that's why you end it on the tonic. And that's why about 99.9 maybe % of pieces are finishing on the tonic chord. There's some modern music that doesn't finish on the tonic chord and it sounds like unfinished. And whenever you hear a piece that kind of like do 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 do, like, and it just ends, then it's probably not the tonic. And then you actually have to do more analysis to get what what key that's written in. But if you're trying to figure that out, it's kind of a little bit more advanced than we are right now, so that's going to have to be kind of explained later on, and you guys will understand it more as you do it. But it's basically like when you're trying to learn the key of a piece, it's kind of like investigating, and it's like you're solving a mystery almost, and some cases are easier than others. So that's a lot what like harmonic analysis is like. Why do I keep messing up? But harmonic analysis is a lot like that too. So anyway, it's not that hard actually. Basically, this is all you do. You just go look at your piece, look at your key signature, figure out which two keys, use your circle of fifths, and then be like, okay, does it match one of the last notes? Okay, it matches that one or this one, and boom, you just go with that answer. That's basically it. And the bass note will pretty much always tell you. So say that it was ending on G up here, I would still be more inclined to give it a B flat major thing, because the bottom chord, the bottom note is pretty strong. Although it could still be written like, you know, it could be in another, it could still be in G minor, and it could be written in like a different inversion. So that would, I would actually need a bigger piece with, anyway, I'm going to show that next. Because I'm getting ahead of myself. Alright, so that's what we're going to cover next is minor ones. Like, how do you see a minor? How does it make sense? Okay, let's move along to that. Okay, so now, for finding out like minor ones, how it would be obvious to you, just to give you an example, basically look at this. Now, I'm using the same key signature, so if we look again here, this is just for kind of continuity. So we have two flats again, so we can either use B flat major or G minor. Now, what happens in a harmonic minor scale? Does anyone know? Yes, you, back there, raising your hand, okay. Yes, what did you say? Oh yes, you raised the 7th note in the harmonic minor scale, yes, that is correct, young laddie. Okay, here is a candy, it's not poisoned or anything. Okay, anyway, so basically what you've got here is why you raise the 7th note in a harmonic minor scale, right? Yeah. Now, why do you do that? Because you want to create a leading tone, so you don't have a subtonic. That way there's more pull. So if you see in a scale, or if you see in a piece and it has a sharp on what would be the 7th note of the scale, then it's like a huge red flag. Something should just jump out at you and be like, oh, they're raising the 7th note. It's not something random, it's something that can show you that it's written in a minor scale. So here I have two examples. Now, there is one example where I could have raised this to a natural, because then it would have been more melodic. But I guess I just didn't really feel like doing that right now, because it would look kind of confusing. So I've just left this kind of like a harmonic minor kind of pattern here. But basically what I've got going on is here is, so G, if G was the tonic, then the 7th note would have to be one note below that, which is A, right? Oh, no, sorry, not A, F. What am I thinking? That's the other way, that direction. But one note down from G is F. So if you have a sharp on an F sharp randomly, then it's not that random, it's actually pointing out that, oh, they're raising this because it's in a minor scale. Very, very rarely would they ever just be like, hey, let's just put a sharp there for no reason. No, there's always a reason for why they would do something like that. So basically, just open up your eyes. This is how you do it. Basically, look at your piece, be like, okay, here's my my key signature. Okay, those are my two scales. Are there any sharps and flats anywhere? No, no, no. Or maybe there are. Yes, okay, it's probably minor then. Unless it's like, you know, in really modern style. But if there's a whole bunch of sharps and flats everywhere, and it's always the same one, and it's always what would be the 7th note in the minor one, and then it so happens to end on the minor note. So I'm saying that because it could be any one, but for this example it's G minor, and there's always F sharp everywhere. Well, yeah, okay, it's G minor. If it has no sharp, well, and it ends on G, well, then you're kind of scratching your head a little bit. But generally that's not going to happen. It's usually going to be one or the other, because that's kind of the way it fits. So if it doesn't have sharps, it's probably going to be ending on the major, okay? So, okay, here, so it's ending on G, and here it ends on B flat. So B flat is part of the G minor chord, and it ends on G in the bass, plus we have sharps, or accidentals I should say, raising the 7th note of the G minor scale. So to make it a leading tone, so it's conclusive, it should be G minor. So that's how you basically determine the key of a piece. So just basically the steps are, okay, look at the last note and look at the key signature, and does the last note match what the major of that key signature should be? Yes. Okay, because I'm saying yes because it's almost 100% guaranteed. Okay, it's so easy to find the key of a piece. It's very, very easy. So, and then minor, 7th note. So what I would suggest for you guys is to just try to memorize those. So yeah, let's get on to homework. Homework. No. Okay guys, so for your homework, what I'd like you to do is memorize these kind of steps. So look at the last note, look at the key signature, and look for sharps, flats, or naturals, also known as accidentals. Then, for your homework also, I'd like you to find the key of 10 pieces. So look around for some sheet music, maybe some songs that you know how to play or you would like to play or you just have it kicking around. And look for the key of the piece. Try to see if you can nail it down and make sure you know it. And do that for about 10 pieces and you should probably get the swing of it. And try to do it every once in a while, like whenever you get a new piece, try to figure out what the key it's in, and then maybe that'll help you gain an insight into the interpretation of the piece. And you'll notice every time, one of the good things about knowing the key of the piece is if you're playing a piece and you see the piece coming back to the tonic, you can play a little bit more emphasis on the tonic sometimes because it's kind of emphasizing the home key. Now this isn't always the case, but it's just like inside information that'll help you better understand the piece you're playing and how it's being made and created. So yeah. Anyway, so basically yeah, memorize these steps and you're good to go. Pretty easy, huh? Okay, take care guys. Happy practicing and see you later. Okay, bye.